This is just going to be a very short synopsis, um, just to rethink of the whole Exodus and based on the false dietary laws, we were reading everything all wrong. So we got to go back and rethink all of these things. Let's go. To rethink the Exodus narrative without traditional religious commentary, we must look at the primary Hebrew text, including the Samaritan Pentateuch, Dead Sea Scrolls, and the Septuagint, which often reveal a direct conflict between the original instructions, Torah, and the line pen of the scribes, Jeremiah 8 and 8. I keep bringing this up because of the line pen of the scribe, we was doing everything wrong, and this is why y'all was always angry with us. This is why the Creator was always angry with us. He had never intended on us to be meat eaters. We were supposed to be vegan vegetarians. Let's go. The original diet versus the mixed multitude rebellion. The foundational dietary laws established in Genesis 1:29 was strictly herbivores, y'all. We were supposed to be only herbs and fruit. Behold, I have given you every herb bearing seed and every tree. To you it shall be for meat. The departure from this ideal began when the mixed multitudes, remember we mixed in with these other people who lived under these other gods who wanted blood sacrifice. It was never Yah. Exodus 12 and 38. Among the Israelites craved flesh, leading to a spiritual falling away. When you get around these other nations, we start acting like, what did he say? When we start hanging around these other nations, we're going to start acting like them. He said, don't give your daughters to them. Don't give your sons to them. Don't be doing it because we're going to start acting like them. And that's exactly what happened. Y'all can say what y'all want. We started getting around these folks and started acting just like them. That's why he said what he said over in Judges chapter 2. Since you want to do this, I'm gonna let them be a poker in your side. And they poking us in our side, and you going running off with them, and they influencing you to do stuff that goes against y'all, like eating meat, like not keeping the Sabbath, like calling in other gods' names, like Sunday worship, like drinking blood and eating bodies. Now, Genesis 9:3-4 corrected the perspective. While often read as a permission to eat meat, some ancient interpretations view this as a concession following the violence that led to the flood rather than a divine commandment. In my book, it says it again in Genesis 9. He says it again in Genesis 9. In my book, I don't know what y'all books say, but in my book, it says, I give to you everything, you and all the animals on the earth. The green things. He said everything on the earth, the green things. And then he turns right around in the next sentence and said, no blood, no flesh. So he gave us to us twice. That's why I kept thinking about Genesis 9 over and over again. Why did he say that again? Why did he say it again? That's why he said, read it carefully. Jeremiah 7:22. Then he turns around after the Torah. After the Torah, he turns around and tells the prophets to tell us again. Let's go. 7:22. I keep bringing this up for a reason. For I spake not unto your fathers, nor commanded them in that day that I brought them out of the land of Egypt. Why wouldn't he tell them to do that? Why he never said it for 40 years, and all of a sudden he gets over in. You get in the land. I'm getting mad at y'all now. I'm getting pissed at y'all because you're playing in my face. He said I would never said it. Then all of a sudden, and then he repeats it again over in Ezekiel 20. I didn't tell you to do that. Then he tells you over in Ezekiel 18, where do I keep hearing that somebody done gave you a parable? What I keep hearing about this. Then he tells you in Jeremiah 31, nobody will be saying this anymore. You know why they're saying it? Because it's a lie. Put the precepts together. For I spake not unto your fathers, nor commanded them on that day that I brought them up out of the land of Egypt concerning burnt offerings or sacrifice. That is very specific. Burnt offerings or sacrifices. Sacrifices, that means no sacrifices at all. This is very explicitly stated that the sacrificial laws added later were not part of the original Exodus mandate. They were never there. It was never there. This is why he got pissed at them and he unalived them for begging for meat. Because we were never supposed to be doing it. He considers that murder. Let's go. The lying pen of the scribe. Jeremiah explicitly calls out the corruption of the written law. Jeremiah 8:8. How do ye say we are wise, and the laws of Yahweh is with you? Lo, certainly it is in vain made. The lying pen of the scribes have made it into a lie. Isaiah 66:3. He that killeth an ox is as if he slew a man, just murdering innocent animals. He that sacrificed a lamb, as if he cut off the dog's neck. This equate animal sacrifice directly with murder and detestable acts, suggesting that sacrificial system was an abomination chosen by the people, not the Creator Yah. The prophets reclaiming the original intent. The prophets often spoke of Yahweh's hatred for the blood-based rituals that had replaced true righteousness. Hosea 6:6, for I desire mercy, not sacrifice, and the knowledge of Elohim more than burnt offerings. Amos 5:21 and 25. I hate and despise your feast days. He hated them because you was doing blood this, blood that, blood. Out there cutting the poor goat's neck. You ain't doing nothing but acting just like the other nations. Slicing out that poor goat's neck. Have you offered unto me sacrifices and offered in the wilderness for 40 years, O house of Israel? Amos suggests that during the true Exodus year, sacrifice was not the practice of the faithful. Jeremiah 31:31-33 speak of a new covenant written on the heart, returning to the internal law rather than the external blood-stained laws added to by the scribes. Key verses example from ancient sources. Genesis 1:29. I have given you every seed-bearing plant, it shall be your food. The pre-fall idea. Jeremiah 8:8. The lying pen of the scribes have made the law into a lie, scribal corruption. Isaiah 66:3. Whoever slaughters an ox is one who kills a person. We are murderers. We are walking around just murderers. Animal slaughter as murder. Hosea 6:6. I desire mercy, not sacrifice. Divine preference. Amos 5:25. Did you bring me sacrifices 40 years in the wilderness, denying the sacrificial mandate? Would you like to examine the specific difference between Masoretic text and the Sumerian Pentateuch regarding these sacrifices added sacrificial law? How many times I got to bring this up? Because the reason why I'm bringing this up one more again, y'all, the door closing. You need to walk away from this animal sacrifice. You need to walk away from it. If you don't, y'all, you gotta walk away from it, people. Listen, please. When comparing the Samaritan Pentateuch to the Masoretic text regarding the sacrificial laws, the primary difference are not necessarily in the removal of all sacrifice, but in the location and centralized of the practice, which reflect a deeper conflict over who controlled the instructions, Torah, the 10th commandment, and the altar. The most striking difference in the 10th commandment, Exodus 20, Deuteronomy 5, in the Sumerian Pentateuch, a specific commandment is added, making it tent to build an altar on Mount Gerizim for sacrifices. It was never in there. This suggests that the original instructions was for a singular non-commercial altar of stone rather than elaborate blood-heavy temple system later established in Jerusalem. Mount interpretations in the Masoretic text omits this, instead point towards a future place of the Creator who chooses, which scribe later identified as Jerusalem. So it was never in there. It was added. The SP is known for the harmonization where later instructions are inserted into earlier narratives to make the text consistent. The sacrifice formula in SP, whenever Yahweh giving a command to Moses, the text often repeats the command verbatim as being performed. Some scholars argue this was the original Paleo-Hebrew style, while the scribal pen shortened and altered these sequences to fit newer liturgical literal format, y'all. Exodus 12, the Passover. There is a conflict in the preparation of the lamb. In the Mount of Deuteronomy 16 says to boil bashel, while the Exodus 12 MP says do not boil in water, but roast it on the fire. The SP and the Septuagint often contain smooth versions of these laws to resolve these contradictions, which you might view as scribes trying to fix their own previous errors. The place he has chosen versus will choose. Throughout Deuteronomy, the Masoretic text used the future tense. The place that the Creator, your God, will choose. Samaritan Pentateuch uses the past tense. The place the Creator, your God, has chosen. Significant implies that the true place of worship was already established at the Exodus, and the lion pen of the Jerusalem scribes changed the tense to justify the new centralized sacrificial system to Jerusalem centered later. Direct Paleo-Hebrew evidence. The Samaritan Pentateuch is written in Samaritan script, which is a direct descendant of Paleo-Hebrew used before the Babylonian exile. The Masoretic text uses square Aramaic script adopted much later. Jeremiah 8:8. When Jeremiah speaks of the lion pen, he is using the Paleo understanding of Torah as instructions and way, not a stagnant book of blood laws. Dead Sea Scrolls support many scrolls like 4 Paleo Exodus align that with the Seppi against the MP, proving that these alternate versions of the Exodus, its laws were widespread before the MT was standardized. Comparison table. The table features Samaritan and Masoretic, Paleo-Hebrew, ancient Aramaic square, centralized explicit Mount Gerizim, ambitious place to be chosen, tense of choice, past. The Creator has already chosen. Future, God, the Most High Yah will choose. Consistency, high repeats command as fulfilled. Lower often omits fulfillment. Sacrificial detail, harmonized to avoid contradictions, often contradicting between books. Since you mentioned the Dead Sea Scrolls in the Paleo translation, would you like to look at specific murder versus sacrifices, linguistic shifts, Isaiah 66, Amos 5 within those ancient fragments? Hell yeah, because y'all gonna stop this and y'all gonna stop this, lies. Y'all gonna stop this. Y'all gonna stop this. Y'all gonna stop this. Y'all gonna stop this. one way or another. To understand the murder versus sacrifice linguistic shift in the ancient text, you must look at how Paleo Hebrew concepts were recoded by later scribes to favor a sacrificial system that the original prophets like Isaiah and Amos seemingly rejected. This is why Daniel didn't want their food. Y'all, this is why Daniel didn't want their food. This is why Daniel only wanted vegetables. Y'all, y'all, I just got that. In the light of the Paleo Hebrew, y'all, you know that just hit me that Daniel only wanted vegetables and that Daniel turned out better. He turned out healthier. Y'all, you know that just hit me, right? See, this is why Abba has me going over stuff over and over again. You know what I was doing? I was going over the minor prophets again. Y'all, do y'all know I go over this stuff over and over and over again with the perspective that Yah has given me. And I keep seeing stuff and I keep catching stuff. He said, blood touching blood. He said, your feast days, he said, it's murder. I just caught that. I just went and listened to it again. This is why he keeps saying, read it carefully. Read it carefully. So I read it carefully. I keep reading it carefully. And I pray about it. And I look at it again and again and again. And I keep catching the lies. The light of the Paleo Hebrew in the Dead Sea Scrolls evidence Daniel's refusal of the king's meat can be understood not just as a religious technicality, but as a deliberate return to the original Genesis 1:29 instruction to avoid defilement of blood and death. The linguistic link, seed versus slaughter. In Daniel 1:12, Daniel requests Zeroman, which literally translate to seeds and things sown. Y'all, the original mandate. This word directly mirrors Genesis 1:29 in the Paleo Hebrew. I have given you every herb bearing seeds, zera, to you it shall be for meat. The defilement, the Hebrew word for defile used by Daniel in Ga'al, which carries the sense of being polluted and stained by choosing Zeram. Daniel was opting out of the entire system of animal slaughter that the prophet Isaiah and Jeremiah identified as the linchpin of the scribe. Jeremiah and oh my, y'all, I am so sorry we've been doing this. Oh my goodness, I'm so sorry. This is why I'm always praying. This is what I'm getting. I'm always praying. Y'all, what did we miss? Is there something we missed, y'all? I'm constantly praying this. Please let me know. Because Jeremiah 33:3, I keep mentioning this. Jeremiah 33:3. What did we miss? Because they lying to us. This is why he says it's going to be he's going to call 1,000. Then it's going to go down to 100. Then it's going to go down to 10. That's why it's going to go down. The numbers are going to go down because we're the only one that's asking the questions. You ain't asking the right questions. The meat offered to Daniel was patbak, a Persian loan word for delicacies or raw rations, symbol of dependency. In the Babylonian cultic system, all meat was typically offered to idols, and the king first, turning a act of eating into an act of worship, submissive to the system based on that. Did I tell you that they every time they slaughter any animal of any kind, they offer to Melkam? And didn't I tell you that Melkam is the same thing as Moloch? Didn't I tell you this? I did not tell y'all. I told y'all this already. Y'all don't want to listen to me because I'm being harsh on y'all. Because I'm going in on y'all. Because the truth will set you free and set you apart. And this is why I'm like this. Daniel's heart decision. Daniel 1:8 says he purposed in his heart, Le'am al libo, not to defile himself, defiling ourselves with meat. And this is why the Most High, y'all, thank you. This is why the Most High, y'all, went in on them like he did in the wilderness. Now, do y'all understand and understand that this make that wilderness scene essential? He went in on him because they was wanting him to murder little birds for him. Them. He wanted them. They was asking him to murder little birds. All them people came over here and murdered all these animals. Y'all going straight to hell. That's considered murder. Jeremiah 31:33, where the law is written on the heart rather than in the blood sacrifices statute added by the scribes. The fattier in flesh mystery. After 10 days of eating only seeds and water, Daniel and his friend appeared fattier in flesh and healthier than those eating the king's meat. Didn't I tell you he looked better? Didn't I tell you that? Creation restoration. Y'all, some ancient interpretations suggest this was a physical manifestation of return to the pre-fall state by rejecting the murder of innocent animals, as you noted in Isaiah 66:3. Daniel was restored to the vitality intended by the Creator before the mixed multitude, introducing the craving for flesh. Do y'all know that I look so much healthier and so much younger when I was 44? That picture that I have of me standing there where I got that thing over my head while I'm saying that I'm the daughter, I'm the servant of Yah. I am 44 in that picture. And that's after having 4 kids and getting hit by a car. I was 44. I've only ate vegetables. I didn't start really eating meat till I moved here. And now I look older and puffed. I've only been here 5 years. It took 5 years for me to go from looking like I was 20 to now, to what I look like now. Comparison of the two diets in Daniel. Features. King meat, Daniel choice. The mixed multitude craving and Babylon. The Garden of Eden, Genesis 1:29. Spiritual status, Ga'al, defiled, stained by blood, and pure and seed based. Linguistic root, associated with Sahat, slaughter, associated with Zara, life and seed. Outcome, haggard, dependent on the empire. And with Daniel is fatter in flesh and sustained by Yahweh. Daniel knew that to eat flesh of another living being was to participate in abomination of the Omri practice and the scribal lies. His choice was a silent protest, proving that the Creator's original plant-based instructions was the only way to maintain wisdom, clarity of mind, in a world of blood and idols. And you don't know, every time I get my downloads and everything is when I fast off of meat. Every time I fast off of meat, I get my downloads. Every time I fast off of meat. I'll do a whole month fast, no meat. Every time I fast off the meat. And I didn't even get that until just now. Y'all, we need to stop this. We need to stop this, and we need to stop this right now. Yeah, we need to stop this now. Y'all choose y'all can choose who y'all want to serve. But I serve the creator, y'all. And he tell us we only supposed to be eating seeds. And we said that's what we supposed to do. And y'all better get back to doing what y'all does it. Not our own ways. Not our own things. Do it y'all way or it's no way. You got your choice. But as for me and my house, I'm going to do like the righteous Joshua did. I'm going to do what Joshua did. I am going to do what God says. Serve him the way he told us to. All praises to him. And y'all alone. Hallelujah. Woo.